joining us today. My name is Lisa Sherman Luna, and I'm the Executive Director of the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition. We're here today in the halls of City Council, the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, with some of our members, our staff, and some of the co-sponsors of Council Resolution 1560. Today, we're hoping to make history in Nashville and in Tennessee by allocating over $1.8 million from the American Rescue Plan to aid immigrant and refugee communities in COVID-19 recovery. With these funds, we'll be able to scale up immigration legal services and community education to low-income residents. Immigrants and refugees have long been deeply rooted in the fabric of Nashville communities, and we've been working on the front lines of the COVID-19 crisis, keeping communities healthy, safe, and fed. Yet thousands of immigrants and refugees have been largely left out of COVID-19 recovery efforts due to a lack of immigration status. While only Congress can provide a pathway to citizenship for millions of undocumented immigrants, and millions are going to remain ineligible until Congress takes action, Metro Council can take a step to invest critical resources to help those who are eligible access life-saving immigration relief. From asylum seekers from Haiti or Afghanistan, DACA recipients from Mexico or Korea, or refugees from Somalia or the Ukraine, or any of the nearly 17,000 immigrants who live in Davidson County who are eligible to become U.S. citizens today. While immigration is a federal issue, it's at the local level where we feel the impact of the broken and outdated immigration system. And Metro Council can and should act to do everything in its power to assist immigrant residents to overcome barriers and thrive in our communities. ARP funding for immigration legal services will aid in economic recovery and stability for immigrant communities and Nashville as a whole by providing vital community education around legal and social services, assisting individuals and families in applying for immigration relief, work permits, driver's license, better job opportunities, and keep families together in our city. In just a few hours, Metro Council members will vote to make this historic investment into immigrant and refugee communities. No government in Tennessee has ever made such an investment in our communities. This is a testament to the growing power of immigrants and refugees in our city, and Nashville is leading the way for the South and the rest of the country. We're here to urge council members to vote in favor because we're all Nashvillians. This is our home and we are here to stay. We can only succeed when we all have opportunities to thrive. Now I'm going to invite my partner, Tessa Lemos-Del-Pino from the Tennessee Justice for Our Neighbors, who will also be receiving some of these funds to scale up direct immigration legal services. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Good evening. As Lisa mentioned, my name is Tessa Lemos-Del-Pino, and I'm the Executive Director at Tennessee Justice for Our Neighbors. Tennessee Justice for Our Neighbors provides free or low-cost immigration legal services to individuals who qualify for humanitarian relief, and we educate the public about immigration matters. Our office has represented more than 1,500 DACA recipients and more than 3,000 clients since our founding in 2008. While we're proud of the work we have accomplished, we know that the need for services is greater than our current capacity. Last year, we counted nearly 1,500 phone calls or email inquiries from individuals seeking immigration information. Of those inquiries, our attorneys were only able to accept 321 new clients. Immigrants have the right to counsel in immigration court, but it is at their expense. Even though the penalties are profound because deportation is classified as a civil rather than a criminal sanction, immigrants facing removal are not provided a court-appointed attorney. Access to counsel is scarce and unevenly distributed across the United States, but it is incredibly scarce here. Navigating the immigration system is complex. It's constantly changing and can take years to successfully navigate. Paying for private counsel is often an insurmountable barrier. Furthermore, knowing services are difficult to secure, individuals unauthorized to practice law, sometimes called notarios, target vulnerable individuals and charge them for inaccurate legal advice. We do know that research demonstrates immigrants with an attorney fare better at every stage of the immigration process. This has led to a growing municipal effort to fund immigration legal services. The clients our office serves fall within 200% of the federal poverty guidelines or cannot otherwise afford representation. They're survivors of serious crimes, trafficking, or domestic violence. They're children who've been abused, abandoned, or neglected by a parent. And they are people who were brought to the U.S. as children and have only known this country as their home. Yet they're unable to access many of the privileges that many of us take for granted. Tennessee Justice for Our Neighbors also represents asylum seekers. This is important to highlight because we are in a unique period of an increased need for immigration legal services in the greater Nashville and Davidson County area. Newly arriving populations, like Lisa mentioned, the Afghans, the Haitians, and Ukrainians, to mention a few, are resettling in Nashville and need legal immigration services to establish economic stability. The urgency of the current humanitarian crisis situations underscore the importance of building legal immigration services capacity that our community has long needed. We live in an immigration services legal desert. There are only a handful of nonprofit organizations that currently provide free or low-cost services that serve this community. For several years now, our organizations have been partnering with each of the area law schools and local law firms to train volunteer lawyers and many law students. Yet and still, this is a patchwork solution that is simply not enough. There are currently not enough pro bono referral resources available. Today, when and if Metro approves Resolution 1560, Nashville joins the ranks of other cities like New York and San Francisco, where there's public funding for universal representation for immigrants in detention. Or Seattle, Chicago, and DC, where there's public funding for immigrants serving nonprofits. And cities like Baltimore, Denver, and Los Angeles, where there are public-private partnerships. Thank you, Lisa, and thank you to the members of TURC for leading this historic effort.
And now I'll invite Councilmember Sandra Sepulveda, who's the lead sponsor of this resolution.
Thank you all for being here today. I want to thank TURC and Tennessee Justice for Our Neighbors for all of their tireless work. One thing that my colleagues and I speak about often is equity. Equity is recognizing that we do not all start the same and adjusting the imbalance. What can be more imbalanced than our immigration system, where individuals are not granted an attorney? This is a historic day because we as a city are on the verge of funding the largest investment of resources in the history of our immigrant community. Let me say that again. We as a city are on the verge of funding the largest investment of resources in the history of our immigrant community. This is life-changing money, which can mean the ability to get a job, a license, education. It is the ability to no longer live afraid and have a world of possibilities open to you. I come from a family of immigrants. My parents, Maria and Francisco Sepulveda, came to this country at 14 and 15 with elementary school educations. Life is not equitable. In the 80s, they were finally able to establish their legal status. The trajectory of their life and mine was changed by this. We have been given, as a city, the opportunity to invest in an equitable way our recovery funds. This is not only beneficial to the immigrant community, this is beneficial to all of Nashville. It is the ability to get a driver's license, open bank accounts, and report safety concerns. It is the ability to keep mixed status families together. We cannot wait on Congress when there is action for us to take at the local level. I am proud to be a sponsor today because Nashville will be able to change the lives of people with backgrounds just like my parents. And I am proud that I was able to play a small part in it.
Thank you, Sandra. Now I'm going to invite Carla McIntyre, who's one of the Turk members and who's benefited from these services before.
Good afternoon. My name is Carla McIntyre, and in 1996, I immigrated straight to Tennessee. My mom made the brave decision to save our lives. She was in a domestic violence situation, and she had to make a choice. Either we live, or something greatly in danger would happen to me and my younger sister. So we immigrated to Tennessee, and I started my life here. Around junior, senior year of high school is when I realized that I was undocumented, and so this meant that those doors of higher education were going to be a little bit harder for me to get. And so I found an amazing organization, which is Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition, and through that organization I was able to find that youth and power, and we marched, we went to DC, we organized in Tennessee and Nashville in our home to really provide DACA. And so I was able to get deferred action for childhood arrivals through a partnership between Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition and Tennessee JFON. And so I am a product of these two beautiful organizations working together to make sure that I could stay here, that I could make Nashville and Tennessee my home. And that journey didn't stop. Through DACA, I was able to be able to get a job and be able to afford to go to college. So I was able to go to college, get a college degree. I graduated, and then I helped other students like myself be able to navigate the college process in Tennessee. And then a few years later, I was able to apply and get my green card, so my residency through JFON and through a partnership through them. And then also I was able to become a U.S. citizen through Turk. And so my journey and cycle has been very long, and I could have not done this without these two organizations. And the thing today that we're doing, the history is going to mean that other people like myself that maybe don't have that opportunity will get the opportunity to get those services with these two organizations. So thank you for your support, and we're really making history so that other students like myself can really see a future beyond kind of the hate that goes around. So really thankful for these two organizations and the work that they're doing.
And lastly, I want to invite Damaris Villalba to share a little bit about her story and how she's benefited from these services. You're going to have to scream.
Hello, everybody. My name is Damaris Villalba. I am the DACA recipient, which means I have to renew my work authorization permit every 2 years. Having access to low-cost immigration services at Turk during my last two renewals has eased some of the financial burdens, as private attorney fees has allowed me to, compared to private attorney fees, and has allowed me to renew on time without the worry of losing my work authorization and protection from deportation. With DACA, I have been able to earn a degree from Tribeca Nazarene University, help my family financially, and has opened a lot of doors with my career, being able to work for national health care providers across the nation. My hope is goal is to continue to positively impact the Tennessee economy and help Nashville grow. But as much as I want to thrive in Nashville, my city, DACA remains in jeopardy, which could make this year the last year DACA recipients can renew. The DACA program will be heard in the 5th Circuit Court in July, with a decision expected soon after. Funding for legal services couldn't come at a more crucial time, especially for the 2,000 plus Nashville DACA recipients like me who need to renew ASAP, but don't have the means to do so. Having an attorney help you complete your immigration paperwork alleviates the anxiety and stress of trying to navigate complicated legal documents on your own. Hola, muy buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Damaris Villalba. Soy beneficiaria de DACA, lo que significa que tengo un permiso de trabajo que debo de renovar cada 2 años. Tener acceso a servicios de inmigración de bajo costo en Turk durante mis últimas 2 renovaciones ha aliviado parte de la carga financiera de los costos de abogados privados y me ha permitido renovar a tiempo sin la preocupación de perder mi autorización de trabajo y protección contra la deportación. Con DACA he podido obtener un título universitario de Tribeca Nazarene y ayudar económicamente a mi familia. DACA me ha abierto las puertas en mi carrera y mi esperanza y objetivo es continuar impactando positivamente a la economía de Tennessee y ayudar a Nashville a crecer. Pero por mucho que quiera prosperar en Nashville, mi ciudad, DACA sigue en peligro. El programa de DACA estará escuchado en la Corte del Quinto Circuito en julio y se esperará una decisión poco después. Fondos de servicios legales no podrían llegar en un momento más crucial, especialmente para los más de 2,000 beneficiarios de DACA de Nashville aquí, que necesitan renovar lo antes posible, pero no tenemos los medios para hacerlo. Tener un abogado que ayude a completar su papeleo de inmigración alivia la ansiedad y el estrés que trae de navegar documentos legales complicados por sí mismo.
So thanks again, everybody, to our powerful speakers and to our 20 co-sponsors in council. Let's make history, y'all!